Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be jumping into a Monday Night Football showdown between the Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran. It's going to be a great Monday night game. I do want to mention real quick, yesterday was an insane Sunday for us over at DFSSquid.com. The 1 p.m. only lineup on Draftkings was a GPP takedown. A lot of the members reaped the benefits over there, and then we carried it right into Sunday Night Football. If you watched the video, you got the information. If you were a member, you had my full lineup. Basically, in the video, I said Marlon Mack is going to be my captain. Marlon Mack was the second best play on the slate right behind Byron Pringle. It was just a really awesome Sunday for us. We're going to keep it rolling into Monday night. Make sure you get over here to dfs-squid.com and check that out. If you have any questions for me, feel free to DM me on Twitter or leave them in the comment section below. As always, please leave a like on this video if you have not already. If you have any questions for DFS, DraftKings, FanDuel, doesn't matter what site, or season-long fantasy football, leave those questions in the comment section below. I'm happy to give y'all advice when I can. I am kind of pressed for time this morning. I do have to get to work here in a minute, so this will probably be a little bit of a shorter video. But I do want to talk about real quick pretty much how I'm going to be approaching cash games tonight. For cash games, which I personally don't really play that much of on Showdown Slates, I don't think that you have to go kicker captain. I don't think it's a bad idea. But for me tonight in cash, I'm probably going to be looking to take Higgins, who's looking like he's going to suit up and start for Cleveland. I think that he's probably just a decent play. He's got more upside, and he's going to get targets. So he's got a lower floor, I would think, than probably both these kickers. But at the same time, he's got a lot of upside, and that's something I'm willing to risk a little bit in cash. It would have to be between him and Pettis, though. Pettis had 5 targets last week, getting his normal snap count back. If we did plug in somebody like Higgins at captain, though, for cash, you're going to have to go Chubb and something like that maybe, and then go ahead and plug in either Goodwin or you could maybe fade Odell. I think you have to have Chubb and Odell personally. You could fade one of the quarterbacks maybe. I do want to get George Kittle in my cash lineup somehow, maybe something like that. But I'll leave that pretty much to you. My core for cash is probably going to be these top 4 guys right here. These are really the guys I need in cash, I think. I'm not super stoked about either of the QBs. I will have one of the two, but I got to save the rest for my members over here on the site. So going into tournaments, though, I like to give y'all my top 3 favorite captains for tournaments. I know not everybody plays multiple lineups. Some people play one lineup. I had somebody tell me I was giving them too many options, and I think 3 is a pretty fair amount of captains and why I want them in my captain spot. And then, of course, I always build kind of like a little gimme lineup or, at least an example lineup over here. But, I mean, there's people that play 150 lineups in a slate like this. There's also people that play one lineup and just hope it does really well. I personally play more than 10, less than 100. So I'm hoping that I can still get a lot of exposure to these guys in a lot of different ways, but I'm also not entering a ridiculous amount of lineups. So I do like to give you all a few examples though. Obviously I have to mention Odell Beckham for tournaments. He's always, I don't care if it's Richard Sherman or not. He's always going to have the potential for 100+ yards and multiple touchdowns. You should have shares of Odell Beckham at captain if you are playing multiple lineups tonight. That's really all I have to say about that. I don't care who's defending him. If he passes Richard Sherman, just speed-wise, just burns by him one play, 75 yards in the first quarter, it's a touchdown. You're sitting there watching TV and you see that, and you don't have him at captain in one lineup. You will not win anything. You might cash, but you're not going to take down any big tournaments or anything like that, because if he does that in the first quarter, he will finish with over 100 yards and at least one touchdown, obviously. So you can't ignore Odell Beckham. Right below him, Nick Chubb. Not my favorite play on the night, but somebody that I have to also mention because of the usage, not because of the slate-breaking potential where he had 3 touchdowns last week. That's not necessarily that's pretty much his ceiling fantasy-wise. I don't think he'll have a bigger game than that this season. He had 88-yard touchdown last week, so Chubb is a beast. But, I mean, look at the volume. He's somebody you have to have in cash. I don't care if the San Fran 49ers have been good against the run or not. When you're getting 4 looks out of the backfield on average, 4 or 5, that's an instant 6 or 7 points, I like to say, with the yards and the receptions. So that's already good, and then you're going to get 20 carries out of him. So he's just kind of a lock for me to have in most lineups tonight because of that usage. and he will be very popular as well. So between those two guys and actually down here, George Kittle. George Kittle has not had a George Kittle game that we knew thought he would coming into the year. Obviously, I think most of us thought he would regress a little bit, but not the way he did. So I think that this could be a really big get-right game for George Kittle and put the rest of his season on track. The Cleveland Browns gave up 2 touchdowns to Delaney Walker in Week 1, and they gave up 1 touchdown to Mark Andrews in this past week. So it really just looks like a good get-right spot for George Kittle. He's the only receiver or pass catcher on that San Fran team that's really getting almost all the snaps, and he's guaranteed to get a ton of snaps, and he's going to get those targets. So I think George Kittle's a great play, one of my favorite on the slate. I'll definitely have him at captain quite a bit. So if we were to lock him in, I think you do actually on this slate need to have the correlating quarterback behind him. So I would definitely go ahead and plug in Jimmy G. And then I'm okay with fading one of the two between Chubb and Odell. I don't think you have to have both in your flex. It's a little tricky, though, because they're road dogs. You don't really want to take the road underdogs running back, normally. You just don't normally want to do that. I'm okay with doing it in tournaments. Obviously, it's going to be a little contrarian, I think. But at the same time, with that usage, I don't know how owned he's going to be. We don't have the ownership projections up yet. It's only 9:15 a.m. But if we were to, let's say, plug in Odell in this lineup, that's going to leave us 54-33. I do want to mention Tevin Coleman coming back scares me off of Matt Breida, Coleman, Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and am I missing one or no? I think it's just a 4-headed monster. So 4 running backs. It feels like they always just have a ton of running backs in San Fran. They don't have a true RB1, I don't think. I think they want Tevin Coleman to be that guy, but returning from this injury, I'm not so sure if he is or not. If he does play, which I think he probably will, it'll probably just eliminate Jeff Wilson for the most part. And then it'll still be a little bit of a timeshare with Breida and Mostert. Breida kind of being that number 2 guy, and Mostert getting the odd snap every now and again to give the 2 guys a rest. So I'm not really going to be touching too many of the running backs. If I do have any, it'll be Matt Breida, even though he's at that higher price tag. If Tevin Coleman plays, I still like Breida a little bit better. I love my USC boy right here, Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo is always a good play, to be honest with you. Of course, there's a little bias there as a Gamecock fan, but he really has looked very talented in these games. If you've watched him play, his routes are pretty insane, and they're really trying to get him involved. So you got to love that on the San Fran offense. When they want to get somebody involved on San Fran, that's just kind of give me them, because this San Fran team, they spread the ball out so much with that 4-headed backfield between the running backs, and then they have 8 or 9 wide receivers, and they just signed 600 down here, Jordan Matthews, who they cut in the preseason, re-signed him. Trent Taylor is hurt. He should get work out of the slot. You have to think he's going to get some snaps tonight, but will the targets be there? I don't know. I don't even know if he knows the whole playbook. He could go in there just as a slot guy, and they could just check it down with Breida or something like that. So a risky salary saver there. Richie James, also a guy that is a little bit of a riskier salary saver. One of these punt plays that I think could get you some points, but is definitely risky. My favorite 2 cheap guys tonight are going to be Rashard Higgins. I think that when he starts, which he should tonight, he's a starting wide receiver on that Cleveland offense. He's going to get looks, especially with Odell and Jarvis on the field. It's going to open things up for him. And then Dante Pettis, who's getting his snaps back, just way too cheap right here at 3,400. 5 targets last week. I had him in season long, and a few leagues dropped him right after week 1 when he played 2 snaps because they were keeping an injury under wraps. I thought they just didn't want to play him. But it's good to see him getting his snaps back. 5 targets last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. They had the bye last week, but I'm definitely on Dante Pettis as a good, sort of a cheap guy to play. Then you can come back up, and I'm okay with also playing like a kicker or something. Let's see what that leaves us. If we took San Fran's kicker, that leaves us enough for Jarvis. That's kind of ugly, though. Let's see what else we could do. No. So we'd have to get to 9,600 to get to Baker here. If you did want to go Higgins, and then that'll let you get up to Baker or Chubb, I'm okay with that totally. I would rather have Baker in this lineup because you're going to have Odell and Higgins. But that's definitely one way I'm going to be approaching tournaments tonight. I do have to cut this video off pretty quickly, though. I do need to get going. if y'all do have any questions, I was pretty clear. Please comment below if you have anything that I can help you with. I'm happy to do it, and I actually got it set up on my phone now, so I do get notifications whenever I do get a comment. So no matter where I am or what I'm doing, I'm always happy to get back to y'all. The support, again, has just been unreal lately. The Sunday Night Football video did very, very well yesterday, and I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. I look forward to keeping the heat from yesterday rolling into this Monday night game, and then hopefully right into Thursday and next week. So good luck to everybody, and I hope that we make it rain tonight here on DraftKings.